Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my run of the newest MoC, which will probably last until about half of MoC 4, but whatever. So,
Let's try it this other way.
this run is using two accounts. What I mean by that is side 1 is using account 1, and side 2 is using account 2. Now, the obvious reason for that is I don't have Hyacine on the other account, or Cipher on the other account, so kind of had to make do with what I have here because I really like the concept of these two. And the theme of these two teams is which one is the DPS? Because in this team, there really isn't one, because Cipher does not have her signature, so she's not particularly hitting hard. RMC is never gonna hit hard, let's be honest. Tribbie does hit hard, but she's kind of the buffer here. And Hyacine also hits really hard, but again, she's the healer here, so this is a game of guess the DPS, and you're free to make an assumption which one is the DPS. And I suppose this is a proof of concept to something that I talked about in the wheelchair video, when you can basically put a support with the wheelchair itself rather than a DPS and still clear at a minimum. Because this team actually cleared faster than advertised. This is a 4-cycle clear, so there you go. I was trying to think of other ideas that would make up an interesting team composition, but my roster isn't exactly built for that. I saw a really cool Anoxa Hyper Carry clear, but I didn't have the investment to make that work. Or at least the skill level to make it work, either way. I think this team is fine enough to showcase really how good a wheelchair team is. You might be noticing that I'm using the true damage buff on Tribbie. And that's because Tribbie is doing a lot of additional damage here, so putting a true damage buff on her actually works, and that's why she's in slot 1. Because of the MoC turb buff, Tribbie is pretty slow in general, so she can hold the 1-turn buff from the turbulence really well, which fuels her own damage. Unfortunately, it's not a lot, to be honest, because Tribbie already has too much damage percent anyway that it doesn't matter as much, but either way, it's a nice help, I suppose. See, here, this is, I chose to stall instead of using Cipher's ult because I wanted a really high screenshot damage of Cipher's ult. Yeah, that's why I'm not using Cipher's ult. I'm legitimately waiting until the enemy is all by themselves, which means I need to kill that horse before I want to use Cipher's ult, and I also want to kill any other bugs in the field because I want to concentrate the damage onto that one big bug. To be honest, from my experience, this MoC really shields Cipher, because from what I gathered with this fight, if you have strictly AoE characters, the first wave is pretty long because there's one extra thick enemy, which is the horse, and there was also a smaller HP enemy, which was the war armor dude, if you play it correctly. And also, even smaller dudes with smaller war armor mechanics. You know those ones, right? And so Cipher is really good there because you can focus on the smaller guys first, then you can focus on the medium guy, and then the big guy with very little wasted efficiency in her coin stacking. This is pretty similar too, the second wave is pretty similar. Whereas if you have if you try to run AoE characters here, you might leave one in the field completely alone, which is not ideal at all. And so, from what I've gathered, the experience of doing a Herta team without Anoxa and with Anoxa here is pretty steep, simply because Anoxa can do the cleanup work when there's only one target left. Whereas with other characters that work with Herta, they really want AoE all the time. Anaxa really is the only one that can handle single target pretty well as a erudition support. Either way, I think this MoC is pretty basic, to be honest. A lot of it is just how much HP the enemy has and how they are ordered. And the second side is kind of the opposite. It's more so a... you'll see on the second side how much fun it is. But either way, I don't really have anything else to say. This team plays itself. I put the true damage buff on little Ika. Do note you can't put it on Hyacine because Hyacine herself isn't, you know, Hyacine doesn't actually do the damage. You want Ika's damage to get buffed. Right there, see? And ideally you want both Tribbie and Hyacine to get the buffs, right? So as you can see there, I put the buff on Hyacine. Tribbie's buff fell off, but I can put it back up pretty quickly. So yeah. Cipher is at 979 coins. And she's about to unleash that into 1,000,000 damage, and I'm sorry for what I'm about to do because I thought this was gonna be a one-shot, but yeah, whoops. There was still 20% left, but you know, we got rid of that pretty quickly. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. And with 4 enemies, the enemy has accepted death because Hyacine is about to hit these guys really, really hard right now. And there we go. Up to side 2. So side 2, this is my American account, my completely free-to-play American account. The previous one was my Asia account. And this is a... I really don't know which one the DPS here is, because it could be Clara, obviously, or it could be Robin. And unlike the previous one, Robin is one of the best characters to put in slot 1 here, because she can fully take advantage of the damage dealt buff by the MoC Turbulence. Which is, you can see her additional damage ticks here are insanely good because of that. Now, that was the first point of RNG, by the way. You need Robin to get hit here so that she can ult at this exact point. If Robin didn't get hit, she wouldn't get enough energy, and the run is basically dead because you can't take advantage of a very big damage window right here. Wait, just wait for a second there. We're setting up everything.
The dice have been cast. Bust. Or maybe I'll take it off.
If you want to know the investment in this team, the highest investment here is Aventurine, which is E0S1. Robin is just E0 using the MoC code. And here we go. Watch as cinema happens here. And then the other mobs will move. Clara will counter. Aventurine will counter. And boom, boom. And then here, another set of counters. Boom, and boom. So yeah, you really need that additional damage up at that point, because that's a lot of damage you're gonna miss out if you don't take care of that. You can see Robin's additional damage right here is so good. It's legitimately making up 50% of the team's damage every single time, which is crazy. So, do you want to bet that Robin may actually be the DPS in this team? Who knows? That's just me assessing if I can get enough energy, which I could, yeah. Okay, now here is another point of optimization. So, The axe guy that's beside the lion there will counter when you try to kill one enemy. There you go. It tried to counter, and unfortunately it didn't work out well because he bled to death before he could do a counter, and then I could use my enhanced counter on them, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to make do with what I've been giving here. So I lost my counter there. Oops. It's not that much of an issue. This side takes longer than the second side. The second side is Hule, and boy is this team really destructive against Hule. Robin truly is still one of the best units in the game. Just look at how much damage he contributes in this team. Holy. Okay, there we go. We're about to see a counterfest. Unfortunately, I had to waste a Robin ult here. By the way, my Aventurine has a lot of speed. That's why his shield is very flimsy and falls off a lot in this run. So if you're wondering why Aventurine doesn't have a lot of defense, he really doesn't. I think he's also built crit rate, so that explains a couple of things, right? This is not a defensive Aventurine build at all. This is simply to drive Robin's damage, which is a lot, as you're seeing right now. So here's a tough choice, because can I kill this enemy with an enhanced Clara counter? If I can, then I can save Robin's ult until the next wave, which would be a pretty good thing. But as you can see with this AI, it didn't hit me. And thankfully, I think Moze killed. Nope, he didn't. Right, I wouldn't have killed him with skill, unfortunately. So, yeah, had to waste the Robin ult there. This definitely could have been done in 5 cycles, but luck was not on my side a couple of times in this, but yeah. Now here we have Hule, and this is about to be like 8 minutes of pure counter destruction gameplay here. Just watch as this cinema unfolds right before your eyes. My Clara is E0, by the way, so if you have an E2 Clara, this is a lot more fun to look at. Moze isn't even E6, by the way, so that probably could have made this a 5 cycle. I held Aventurine's Sting there because otherwise Hule's mechanic would get fulfilled and would slow down. Here he wouldn't slow down. So there we go. There's no delay effect there. And by the time Hule gets his attacks in, Robin has the counter up already. I'm not gonna use it immediately though. I'm gonna do this. And then let Clara and Aventurine take their turns, just so Moze can get his thing off faster. His departed state off. There we go, immediately into Moze's turn, he does departed, and there you go. Perfect. No counters, no counter marks there, so basic attack, might as well. I didn't want to use Moze's ult, because Hule was about to do something nefarious. Unfortunately, he got broken here, so again, I didn't play this perfectly. I probably should have waited for that, unfortunately.
The dice have bust. Or maybe I'll take it off.
So you could probably have cut this down to be like a 4 cycle, unfortunately, but I'm not a very smart player. I'm a very I do stupid play quite a bit in this, but I'm also unlucky, so don't take this as the optimal Clara Robin setup run. Here we go, Robin. She doesn't fill her energy up here, sadly. I don't think you can have alternatives in this team, by the way. I used RMC with this team instead of Moze. It worked, but it took longer. So Moze is faster, even though he's E4 here. I don't think you can replace Aventurine with Gallagher. That's just not gonna happen. Aventurine is the safest character for this side ever. Like, yeah, there's just no competition on who's the safest sustain for these stages. Because on the first side, you can get absolutely one-shotted even with Gallagher's heal debuff on. Like, Robin's probably gonna die with Gallagher, unfortunately, but if you can do it, I assume the QPQ procs are worth it somehow, but I just didn't want to reset a lot. I wanted to get this over with in as few amount of takes as possible. Go. That was a lot of countering. Yep. There's so much attack frequency here, it's actually disturbing. There we go. Go ahead, Hule, try and keep doing that, brother. Yep. Look at this. Just look at this. This is ridiculous. Hold that ult. There we go. Let Hule build himself up so we could keep dueling with him. Oh, this is perfect Robin Concerto placing because I can do this. I think I basic attack here or I skill? No, I use skill because there was enough skill points, yeah? Yeah, I did, okay. There we go. Set up Moze once again before Hule gets to go. There we go. God, Robin is doing so much damage. Like, Jesus. Look at this. This turbulence buff is really helping her. I'm also using not Lushaka. I'm using Keel on Robin instead of Lushaka because Lushaka only gives attack if it's in the first slot party member, and if the wearer is at the first slot, it doesn't do anything, I believe. So I opted to use Keel instead. Aventurine has 50% effect res on his shield, so it's not too much of an issue in the condition there. There we go. I cut this by a thread, look at this. 4%. 2%. And 1%. And Aventurine, nope. Right. So that could have been a 5 cycle on itself, but either way, I combined 10 cycles across 2 accounts. So, my Asia account, here's my Tribbie, built sub DPS. DDD S5. Didn't level up the ult, but doesn't matter. Here's Cipher. Built sub DPS, I suppose. Well, not really, because their talents are really bad, so it's not doing a lot of damage anyway. HMC, a lot of speed. Cool. Speed sets to fulfill the speed. Hyacine set here. Has 110 crit damage, 120% crit damage, I mean. So, there you go. Sub DPS Hyacine. He's using outgoing healing chest, I think. Either way. Here's the second account. Here's Robin. Right, just build sub DPS. Here's Clara. Pretty good amount of crit rate, I would say. Pretty average Clara, not gonna lie. The set is, don't look at the set, but... Aventurine, the highest invested in this account. E0S1. Here's Moze. About as regular as a Moze as you can get. Only S2 light cone though, but either way, out of this. And yeah, that's it. So who do you think is the DPS for both of these teams? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.